Hi, I'm Ginny Robertson, the host. Kathryn, I'm so used to you being co-host that now I'm saying I am the host of the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show. And I'm also the founder of the On Purpose Woman Global Community and the founder and publisher of On Purpose Woman magazine. And I'm here today with my friend and former co-host of the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show, Kathryn Yarborough. We're going to be talking about how women can step up and speak up. So welcome, Kathryn. Thanks for joining me today.
Well, I'm delighted you asked me and gave me this opportunity to be here. I love the Real Women, Real Purpose Talk Show.
I do too. I do too. You're welcome anytime you have anything you want to talk about. So,
Thank you.
but before we talk about this really interesting topic, because I've got a ton of questions for you, I want to tell everybody a little bit about you. So Kathryn Yarborough is on a mission to inspire women entrepreneurs to be the fullest expression of themselves. She's a vibrant speaker coach, manifesting clients mentor, and summit host. If you want to be an engaging, dynamic, and impactful speaker who attracts great clients, Kathryn is the person to learn from and talk to. And you can find out more about Kathryn at manifestingclientsacademy.com. And that website is also in the text of this video. So we're going to talk about how women can step out and speak up, but also why they need to step out and speak up. And I know that you want women entrepreneurs to be inspired to do just that, to break free from what you call their childhood conditioning or their corporate conditioning that have suppressed maybe our authentic selves, got kind of pushed down in some of that conditioning. So let's start with talking about how do we get conditioned? Can you give some examples of that?
I would love to give some examples of conditioning and where this came from. I'd like to step back and chat about that for just a second. When I got a download about how people could be more expressive when they talk and when they do presentations, I realized actually before that I often felt sad. My heart would hurt when I would witness, whether it was women entrepreneurs or anybody doing some sort of presentation, and they weren't expressing themselves nonverbally. For some reason, I am highly attuned to nonverbal behavior. I actually was a dancer and a long time ago. I went back to graduate school in my 30s. I became a dance movement therapist. And I think part of what called me to that work was that I am always feeling and sensing nonverbal behaviors and seeing it. I can feel it, I can sense it, and I am better able now to see it. And what I long for is for people to be congruent so that what they say and how they express themselves nonverbally aligns. And when I don't see that, and especially when someone is talking about something that matters to them, and their face doesn't change, they don't use gestures that are in alignment with it, or their whole being doesn't get involved, their torso doesn't get involved. I just, I just feel heartbroken even about that, because I know that they're not communicating as fully as they can, and they're not touching the people that they could touch. So when I got this download a year and a half ago or so about how to actually integrate what I've used to do as a dance movement therapist with what I know now as a manifesting clients mentor and as a vibrant speaker coach, I started to talk about it with people, and I needed to explain to people why I was so excited about this Speak with Your Body program that had been downloaded to me, because I didn't quite understand it. And I started talking about how what I was seeing, which was this lack of expression, and I realized that I needed to explain that it wasn't anybody's fault, because it could easily come across like I'm saying, well, you're not very expressive, aren't you a dodo head
Like it's
for
a
not being very
personality disorder or something, right? Yeah.
yeah, there's something wrong with you because you're not letting yourself share what you're really feeling deep down inside, or even a little bit. And that's not how I feel. It's just I feel sad about it. And I know, and I knew it right away, like as this download was coming in, it's because of our experiences growing up, whether it was in childhood or in some cases in corporate, where people were told, and I'll speak mostly about women because that's who I love to work with, and that's who you work with, Jenny. Women often have been told to sit still, to be good, to be nice. And as a result, they were conditioned, like you asked about, and their authentic expression, which you can look at any group of 4-year-olds, and unless they've been really wounded, you're going to see it come out. It's there. We all have it. Where did it go? It's buried under all that grown up. I've got to be a grown up conditioning that ends up looking like this, and the face doesn't hardly change, and person doesn't share non-verbally what they're really trying to get across. So you asked me for examples, right?
Yeah, love him.
Okay. So I'll start with myself just because I think it really relates to the reason why I said, let's talk about stepping up and speaking out. I, as an entrepreneur, realized early on, around maybe 15, 16 years ago, as I was putting myself out there and showing up and networking and talking about what I did, that I often felt like I was jumping up and down, going, see me, see me, see me. I'm talking about what I'm doing. Come and work with me. And I felt like I was hidden behind what I experience as a plexiglass wall. In other words, it feels like a wall, it feels thick and plastic. I can see out, but on the outside of it, looking in, it's opaque. It's actually invisible, is a better word to put it. It's like an invisibility plexiglass wall, like an invisibility cloak if you ever watched Harry Potter or
Yes,
read the
yes.
books. Yeah. So that's what it feels like to me. So I'm behind my plexiglass wall that's an invisibility plexiglass wall cloak and jumping up and down. And I used to feel like nobody saw me. And when I look at my childhood, and even to this day at 61 years old, in my relationship with my mother, our primary relationship was with our mother, I will say that I feel like she doesn't see me. I to this day, I can jump up and down. I can say, this is what matters to me. This is what matters to me. This is what matters to me. And then she'll say something else as if she never heard that. So I took that feeling that is ingrained almost in me of feeling invisible with me into adulthood. And as a result, Jenny, I think the truth is, because I was living out from that feeling while I was an okay speaker and I did show up, because I've been going to on purpose meetings since 2001, and I started speaking way back whenever you let me, or I got up the guts to ask, I'm not sure which. But I don't think I did a great job. I didn't develop my speaking skills. And I think in part because I was living out of this conditioned habit, feeling like I was invisible. So I didn't really own that I could work on how I was showing up and what I was saying so that the people on the other side of the wall could hear me. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've been developing over the last few years is how do I recognize that there really are other people out there and they really will listen if I take the time to recognize that they're having an experience and I speak to what they're experiencing. And in this situation, it's women entrepreneurs usually who want to manifest more clients and potentially use speaking, possibly depending on what I'm talking about. So that's one example of
A great example.
conditioning. Yeah.
What's interesting to me is that, we probably all of us women, we women could pick something with our mother if we grew up with our mother that impacted us in some way like that, right? I'm kind of the opposite of that. I felt like my mother always saw me. She was always watching, but she didn't know me. but she was always watching. So I had to always be like, do I do this right? Did I do that right? Do I look, and I've carried that into adulthood big time with some stuff. I've done a lot of work on it. I've still got some stuff, but yeah, it's that everybody's watching me. So I better behave. I better show up right. I better do it right. I better be perfect.
So watching with judgmental eyes,
Exactly.
not with
Yeah.
loving, you are adorable eyes,
Exactly.
but
Yeah.
watching
Yeah.
with, let me find the possible flaw in
Mhm.
you.
And of
And
course,
that feels horrible.
yeah. And of course, then I had that filter that says everybody's looking at me that way, right? You thought everybody was not seeing you, right? So it's so interesting. I think it's such an important point that you're making that we all deal with to varying degrees. And so, you and I have joked sometimes that becoming an entrepreneur is like the greatest personal growth class you can enroll in, right? And you've been on this journey for a number of years. And I know that you've said that this whole letting go of some things and becoming your more authentic self, your more vibrant self is a process, right? It doesn't just happen like that. It's a process that you go through. Can you talk a little bit about the process for anybody who might be interested in knowing more? Like,
Yeah. So what I'm grateful for myself right now is that I actually realize that it is a process, and I can look back and see for myself that I used to feel more awkward and uncomfortable, and now I am taking the time usually to prepare for any kind of presentation that I do so that I can show up and be as authentically vibrant as I possibly can and share good content. Now, I have a client who has done my Speak with Your Body program before, and she was conditioned in a different way than we were. And I've given this example, I call her Lisa. And when she was growing up, her mother spoke in an impulsive, hurtful way. So my client Lisa decided to censor her words. And actually, when we started working together, she told me that she thought about every word before it came out of her mouth. So when she spoke, she was almost monotone and not very expressive, because in order to be authentically vibrant, the words just come out. They have to just come out. You can't think through every single word, or you sound like this. It's not very interesting. Well, this woman has done this Speak with Your Body program with me. She's been practicing speaking, and over the past over a little over a year, she has slowly but surely integrated what she learned and experienced in that Speak with Your Body program, and she's been applying it and becoming slightly more expressive. In fact, I have this really cool assessment, the Authentically Vibrant assessment. You can get it. It's free. It's on my website, manifestingclientsacademy.com, under the free section. So if you are a speaker, you can go and you can do it for yourself. Watch a 2-minute video of you, and you'll rate yourself on your nonverbal behaviors and your overall effectiveness with your speaking. You get a score from 0 to 100. Well, I didn't do this for her prior to her working with me, but approximately 6 months ago, she did it. I actually did it for her. She got, I want to say, a 61, and we just did it again, and she's now at 83.
Wow.
So there is this move process of, it takes time to become aware of the conditioning and its impact on you. And then you have to choose. It's a choice. Actually, for me, it's a choice to go, well, okay, if people actually can see me, how do I want to act? How do I want to prepare myself so that I show up in a way that I feel good about what they're going to experience through me? It's a choice. And my client has had to choose to let go of that censoring process, because that does not happen overnight.
The big step.
Yeah.
It can be a scary step too, I'm sure.
Yeah. And we do it little by little, and we
Mhm.
try it out, we see what happens, and we go, okay, here, and then we go back, I can go back to feeling like I'm hidden. I could take that on right away, but
Mhm.
I don't want to.
But
I don't
you've got
want to.
tools to get you back out of it again quickly, probably.
Yeah, I don't actually go, I don't at this stage, I don't think I live there. I think I
Mhm.
live for the most part outside of it, but I can feel it. It's right there. I could go back, but I don't for the most part.
I'm so glad you're sharing that because I know there are women either watching this or women who have seen you speak or seen you at a meeting just doing a 5-minute presentation, and they're thinking, you've always been like that. Some people are just born like that. Kathryn is so, you get a lot of compliments on your presentation, your speaking. And so this is great news for anyone who feels like, well, it's just not my personality. Because I think there are some
Not
people who
true.
think there's no such thing as a boring personality, right? You
Well,
don't have
yeah,
to be loud. You don't have to be something that you're not, but you can enhance who you are, I think.
right. And it's interesting, Jenny. I will be honest. Prior to that download with the Speak with Your Body program coming through, that actually works, as I just shared with you. I have this client who moved from not very expressive to getting an 83 on this assessment. That's just amazing. But prior to that, I actually was thinking I was special because even though I had, as I was over the last 5 years or so since 2017, really committed to developing my skills as a speaker, expressing myself has been easy for me. I've had to learn how to do the whole thing. Speaking takes is a craft that is like any skill that you need to learn how to put together a good presentation and be willing to practice them so you actually feel comfortable when you're talking, and then allowing that life force to flow. And that's the piece that this thing that I'm here to bring forward to inspire women entrepreneurs to be the fullest expression of themselves, is to invite them to break free from that conditioning so that they let life force flow through them,
Mhm.
which it is not going to look like me. It's not going to look like you. It looks like who that person is at the core of who they are, which is not a monotone, unexpressive person. At the core of who they are, they may not be cutesy and huge, but I can promise, they're expressive and it feels real,
Yeah.
and it will touch whoever hears them when they let that come through.
The word unfettered. I love that
Mm,
word. There's this
mhm.
amazing book I read years ago called The Unfettered Soul. And but I think that's what people can get from working with you is they become more unfettered, which means not tied to all that old stuff, right?
Mhm.
And this isn't just for women who want to be professional speakers or women who want to speak a lot or earn money from speaking, right? It's for women who want to be able to talk about what they do in a way that um, really expresses who they are and how passionate they are about it, so that other people go, oh, they sit up and they lean in and they're more interested. So it's for anyone who wants to enhance that.
Well, yes, I mean, I could certainly work with anyone, but the truth is I like to work with women entrepreneurs. So whether or not they go off and speak on big stages or they speak on Facebook Lives to their community or a small networking group or a large networking group, whatever it is, I don't think I'm here to work with people who are meant to be professional speakers who get paid to speak,
Mhm.
but rather people who are here to use any kind of speaking to let others know about their services so that they can bring in and attract clients who are a right fit for them. And maybe something will take me in a different direction, but I love working with women entrepreneurs.
Oh yeah, I know that's your niche for sure. Has anyone ever told you that by getting clear on this and being more expressive and doing all these things that you tell them they should be able to do, or they should feel not they should be able to do, that they can learn to do and feel comfortable with it? Does it enhance other parts of their life? Like, are they better communicators? Like, do they maybe express themselves, like in a personal relationship even? I would think that that would also come into play.
Yeah. It's a great question. I have one client who I will call Julia, who, when she first started working with me, she had in her job, she is an entrepreneur and she had a part-time job. This is interesting. She said that at her job, when she would go into meetings, she would often hold herself back and she didn't speak up. And she named that as one of the things that she wanted to work on in what we did. And it was interesting. She identified as we did our work that her father, she was always trying to please her father, kind of has that similar flavor. Not exact as you were talking about your mother's eyes, watching with that almost judgment, but it has that similar, like it felt like as she described her relationship with her father, that her father's filter in looking at her was that she never reached the bar of what he was expecting.
Mm.
And so she developed this perfectionism kind of thing going on, and it had her hold herself back from really just being who she is. And the woman is brilliant. She's caring. She's so capable. She's with lots of degrees. I mean, she's a really cool person on many levels. And what has happened while we were working together with the Speak with Your Body program, she actually shared that she started speaking up more in the meetings.
Mm.
And subsequently, we're still working with that material. Subsequently, she got hired through this company to take on a major leadership role in it. And we haven't talked about whether or not that's all connected, but I've thought about it.
Yeah, of course. She's being perceived
So
differently. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's interesting.
It
And
is.
I don't know yet. No one that I'm remembering has said to me, oh, in my personal relationship with my spouse or my good friend, I'm showing up differently, but I know that it can impact us in that way.
Mhm. I think it would have to, because once you get comfortable being that person, she's not going to want to go back, right?
That's true. And I think that sometimes it depends on the person. Sometimes people are already showing up fully in their close relationships when
Mm,
they experience themselves on the stage,
yeah.
whether it's a little stage like a Facebook Live or this kind of like little camera right there, person talking to me, who knows who's watching this, but whatever they change. And that's where they hold themselves back.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many possibilities of what people come in
There
with.
is.
It must be so interesting to start to help them uncover what
Yeah.
that stuff is. I know you get tremendous joy from what it is that you do. So, what would you say to somebody who's watching this and they're going, well, that sounds good for somebody else, but I'm just, that's just not who I am. I really would like to be more confident. I really would like to be more expressive. I would like people to step up, lean in and take notice of me, but I just don't think I've got it in me to do that. What would you say to those people that you
So
haven't already
first of
said? You already said a whole bunch of stuff that they could
I
hear.
did, but
Yeah.
first of all, I would say if there's anybody here who's actually listening, there's some part of you who's really interested in this.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be here listening if you didn't feel like there's another way to be.
Mhm.
So I don't know, Jenny, if there's anybody here who would have stuck with this listening to us if they actually felt like they're crazy and I don't want any of that. So I don't know, but here's what I'll say a couple things. One, if you haven't yet started speaking and developing your speaking skills at all, get started. And there's two great ways. First one is with the On Purpose Woman Global Community. As a member of the On Purpose Woman Global Community, you can sign up for what's called featured member spots. 3 minutes or 5 minutes, and you can talk about whatever you want. It's really great practice. Second of all, join a Toastmasters club. There's a lot of them that are online these days, or find one local to you and start going and go through the process. Stick it out for a year or longer. It will develop your speaking skills. And if you show up and step up, you'll get to practice speaking in a few different ways. And as a result, no matter what, your confidence will build. Once you've gotten some practice with speaking, you can also do my fun Facebook Live challenge, which I'll do again in January. That's the third alternative that's like right off the top of my head of getting some practice. You get to practice 10 Facebook Lives. So if you're practicing speaking and you're getting more comfortable with speaking, you're going to then potentially reach a plateau. And that, once you reach that plateau, and then if you want to develop yourself and become more expressive, let's have a conversation.
Okay. Thanks for the shout out for the On Purpose Women Global Community. That sounded like a great setup, didn't it? I didn't know I was doing that. So thank you. You always look out for me, I know. Well, how can people find out more about your work? You mentioned your website. Tell us again.
My website, you mentioned it at the beginning, is manifestingclientsacademy.com. And so if you want to get to know me better, what I recommend is that you go over there and you sign up for one of my free things. You'll get some emails. I do a variety of things. Sometimes I offer free things. Sometimes I offer low-cost things for new people. So if you're on my email list, you'll hear about them. And so do something with me. If right now you're going, God, I need Kathryn's program, I have to do Kathryn Speak with Your Body program. Fantastic. You'll find the options on my website and schedule a complimentary consultation with me. Let's have a conversation. You can either do the Speak with Your Body program as a 9 private sessions, which depending on your budget may or may not be within it. And then I am also doing what I'm calling the Speak from Your Core 2-day intensive for people who want to break free from their childhood conditioning and become more expressive, authentically vibrant speakers. And that's the next one that I'm doing is October 13th and 14th. That's the year 2023, just in case anybody's watching this in a couple of years, Jenny. And I plan to do that 3 times next year as well. So that's more cost effective. It's a 2-day intensive. It's $297. You can check
Wow,
that
that's a
out.
great price.
Yeah.
And that's on your website. That's all on your website. Great. So manifestingclientsacademy.com. It's also in the text of this video. So what would you like to leave our viewers with? Do you have a final word of wisdom?
Yes, I do. I love that I've been invited to be the fullest expression of myself, and be invited. What that means to me is that my future on purpose self, well, 2 things. One, a few years ago, I realized that what I had not yet experienced was what I call being successful, my definition of being successful. When I started to write out my new story, what does it mean to me to be successful? The first thing that I said is that I'm being fullest expression of myself. So some part of me wants to be this. And my future on purpose self has said, in addition to me wanting to be it and me exploring it, it has said that I am here to inspire other women, entrepreneurs, to be the fullest expression of themselves. So for me, my journey of stepping up more and more and speaking up in a way that I believe that other people are actually listening, so that I speak from the place of I'm not apologizing. I used to say things like, well, in case you're interested, and I may still say that, or I don't mean to interrupt, but I may still say that sometimes because I don't want to interrupt anybody.
Yeah.
You get the idea of apologizing for actually having an opinion and having a voice. And I don't live in that world anymore. I get that what I have to say is useful and important, and it matters. And it matters that I say what I'm here to say in a way that will touch people, that touches people. So that means being the fullest expression of myself. That means choosing to be courageous, to let me not let myself have the goosebumps that I'm having right now, to let the passion come through rather than staying behind that invisible plexiglass wall and kind of just talking around whatever. So my invitation is to find within yourself what it is that you want. Maybe my words resonate. Maybe being the fullest expression of yourself also calls to you, because I can say matters. When people step up and speak up, I'm touched when they do that in a way where they're being authentically vibrant and letting who they truly are come out. I want you to do that. And I know I am not the only person who feels that way. So please decide for yourself. And if it feels right,
Yeah.
find the courage and let's do this together.
Perfect. Beautifully said. Should listen to this again and write everything down that you just said. Because I know it just came from some other place because you didn't know I was going to ask you that. So thank you. Thank you, my friend, for always showing up and always giving of yourself and always sharing your gifts. And you're special. You are special. You are special. And I want to thank anyone who's watching this, either live or the replay, that if you'd like to know more about the On Purpose Women Global Community or On Purpose Women Magazine, you can put a little note in the comments, or you can go to my website, which is opwgc.com. Check out the magazine, check out our meetings. We have 9 meetings on Zoom every month and some in-person meetings in Columbia, Maryland, Richmond, Virginia, and Tallahassee, Florida. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back here talking with communication and relationship expert, transformational coach, and psychotherapist Liz Gall-Lerner about presence, your guide to better relationships through clear communication. Liz has got some really great approaches to communication that you may not have heard before. So show up again. If you can't be here live with us, check it on the On Purpose Woman Global Community Facebook page, not Facebook page, YouTube channel in a couple of days. It'll be up there. So thank you again for watching the Real Women, Real Purpose talk show.